Hi Flosstube, my name's Mel and you've reached me at my cross-stitching channel, Patchy Pony Stitcher, or as I like to say, Patchy Pony Stitcher, for those Americans who think that my Stitcher pronunciation is a bit of a giggle. Today is the 4th of October and today, it's a Wednesday, but today is my Friday. So cheers! Just got home from work and we're going to do some Flosstube and we're going to do some stitching and we're going to have a little wine to go with it. So settle in. I've got lots of finishes to show you. I've got some love, I've got some whips, and I've got a big thank you for you all. So let's get started. Finishes, did you say, Mel? Fully finishes. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all littles, but they're still finishes. So let's get into it. So the first final fully finished that I'm going to show you is this is called Autumn Skies by Hands On Design. Now there's two charts in this particular pattern when you buy it, and this is one of them. And it does come in this type of shape in the fully finishing for a flat fold. But I turned mine into a pillow or a stand-up, I guess you could call it. And I've used the called for DMC on, this must be a 32 count linen. Just added, I really like the aqua in this. So I wanted to pull the aqua out, and I've got a little bottom. So I stuffed it at the bottom, folded it over, and sort of paper pieced, because that's a bit of card. And then I've wrapped it in some corresponding fabric and corresponding, no, I don't think that's the right word. Anyway, matching fabric, we'll go with that. Added a little bow, or not even a bow, come on, Mel, you can't do bows. Ribbon and some pins, and just stuffed it with some polyfill, and I just love how this turns out. It sits so nicely too. So don't be put off by odd shaped patterns that you see, because there's all types of ways of finishing them. Its companion piece that comes in the same pattern is this one, which actually says Autumn Skies and Pumpkin Pies, and the piece the chart comes with the wool felt to add to it. Now, because I stitched this bit first, and then I just sort of jumped over to the fabric and did this bit, and then realized this bit wasn't going to fit and this bit. So these are 4 separate pieces of fabric, which I sort of then patchwork together to get my final piece. On the back, again, I've got some matching fabrics that I just pulled from a little charm pack, a little bit of extra felt, and because I had this seam, I stuffed it from the seam and then pulled that up tight, put a bit of glue over, and added a little, my little tag that I got off Amazon. They're so cute. They're like a faux leather. So and they come in, when you buy a pack, you get different colors. So loving those. So Hands On Design. And if you're interested, that may be a giveaway later on in the video. The next finish I have is a really old finish. I stitched this when my maiden name was my initials from my maiden name was still being used. So that was 25 years ago. So this is quite an old pattern. Don't ask me where I got it from. It's probably out of a magazine. And I had this in a really dingy old frame at the back of a cupboard, which when I finished cross stitching, I pulled all that down, and then it sort of came back out again when I restarted stitching, and it was just in a frame. So I pulled it out of the frame because it was daggy, and I added some, it's not corresponding. I don't know, I cannot think of the word. I added some matching fabric again, put on a little hexie, which I have paper pieced, and then I just hand sewed some pom-pom trim, and I just love it. It just goes so well. I'm just so wrapped with how that came out. It's probably the one I cared about the least, but probably one of the ones where the stitching just came out spot on, especially on the pom-pom trim. I haven't done that before. So that's just goes on my spring decor, along with this little guy, which I framed. This is a Snow Diaries Oh, good grief. I'll have to link it below if you're interested, but it's a little freebie and called Tulips with Bunny. And I didn't want to make this one into a pillow because it sort of didn't have a particular shape. And I had this beautiful little white recessed frame. And I think it just looks perfect with the bunny sort of sitting right down on the ground. So I haven't quite done much with that. But it's still sitting out on my spring decor with this guy. So the colours are quite similar. So happy with how he turned out. And that was, I just picked that one up because of a challenge that I needed to fulfill. So happy with the way that one came out. Now I've got 2 finishes from my recent St. Patrick's Day decor that I did. I don't know if you remember these finishes I had a couple of videos ago. Lucky you. So I've just popped on some grey fabric that coordinates. That's the word. Coordinates, not corresponds. That coordinates with the grey. And I'm really digging using my paper piecing new skills for finishing, because normally I would, so I cut a hole in, do the pillow entire, cut a hole in the back, flip it out, and then I've been putting, for the last year or two, I've been putting like a little wool felt on the back, adhesive, and there's not a huge amount of colours in adhesive wool felt. So now that I've discovered I can use a hexie or some type of shape, I've put a green hexie on there, and then I've just gone around with some ribbon just to, and that's Lucky You. But I'm really like how with these paper pieces, because they're firm enough that you, while you're stitching, you can hold it in place. It's just, that will be the way I'll be going from here on with finishing pillows. The second one is Shamrock Wishes and Irish Kisses that I finished. Again, I've backed it and I've put a gold hexie. I've got some little gold treasure for St. Paddy's, like the gold in the bucket. Another little faux label, and then it just looked like it needed something, so I just craft glued some green buttons on. So they are 2 more finishes for my St. Patrick's Day decor. And the one that I love the most is this one. Now, I'm not sure if this has actually got a name. This is a freebie from Helen D, so I'll tag Helen below, but she's got like a series of these word charts. Now, her flower on the side was a little bit different to mine. Now, as you can see, today, tomorrow, together, I just recently had my 25th wedding anniversary, so I stitched this in honor of that particular special day. I had red roses in my bouquet. This fabric is left over from the men's cravats and bow ties, and not bow ties, cravats and hanky bits that they had hanging out. And I've got like a black velveteen to represent the suits. And again, I've got a hexie with more of the gold fabric from the leftovers. And it was so nice. I'm like, I know I've got some of that fabric somewhere. I thought, I'm not going to be able to find it. No way. And do you know what? Pulled it out. Straight, first box that I looked in, and bam, there it was. So thank you, Helen. I just love this piece. Fitted perfectly for what I was wanting, just something little. And I just propped this up against my wedding photos. Just sits up there. So it's just a little special piece that will stay out all the time. So that's my finishes. But I do have a big one. But you're not going to see it. I have officially finished Prairie Romance. It is done. It is off my frames. It is washed. It's getting ready to lace and getting ready to frame. But I didn't want to share it with you just yet. I'm going to have a special video because that was 5 years in the making, and I think it deserves its own spotlight. So keep an eye out for my sew with me, finish with me, frame with me on Prairie Romance, because that is coming very soon. As soon as I get Mr. Patchy Pony Stitcher to get his butt into gear and do my frame for me and cut my glass. So next we're going to have a look at some whips. Right, got all the whips together now. Finishes put away. Let's move on to whips. I forgot to show you my shirt. I was so excited about showing you my finishes. I forgot to show you my shirt. So Elizabeth from Frizzy Lizzy Stitches, if you're watching, look up, because we've got some Tay-Tay. Finally got my shirt for next year's concert when Taylor Swift comes to Australia in February 2024. And it's got all the eras of the different tailors on it. So loving this, sick. I got this off Etsy actually, but I just love all the tailors on it. So if you're interested, I can link the seller below on Etsy, and you can also get Melbourne ones. And I think you can get Perth ones. Is she's in Perth? I can't remember. I'm so excited. I can't wait to go see Tay-Tay, but it's not till February. So long time to go. Excuse me. Okay, now I want to look at my whips, and I've just realised I launched straight into everything without having an intro really. So I've had a huge jump in subscribers lately. So thank you for coming over and checking me out. It just makes my heart sing. I don't know if there was a shout out that I'm not aware of. I know that Liz and Deb mentioned me on Country Stitches, so it might have come from there, I've got a feeling. So thank you, ladies. It's very much appreciated. But if you've come over from somebody else's recommendation, please let me know so I can go and thank them, because I've been quite, this year, or the beginning of this year, I sort of lost my Flosstube bug. Like, you know how you lose your stitchy bug? Well, I lost my filming bug. So it's really hard to get back into it. But I put out a video with all my kits. It's gone gangbusters. So you guys obviously like seeing parades. So there might be a few more of those in the near future. But thank you if you are new. I live in Australia, in Tasmania, if you weren't aware of that. And I spend a lot of time with ponies, my horses. I've got two horses that I love dearly, hence the name Patchy Pony Stitcher, or Stitcher. Now what I do on my channel when I show you whips, because I touch a lot of whips, I don't bring out everything and show you every month what I've done, because sometimes it's only 300 stitches, and I'm a challenge driven, motivated stitcher. So I work with 2 Facebook groups, and that determines essentially what I pick up each day, and each challenge has got a 300 stitch minimum. Well, my minimum is 300. So I might pick up 10 different projects during the month, so I'm not going to get all 10 out, and so I pick the 5 that have had the most stitches put into them to show you. So you get a bit of variety every month with what I have. So what I'm going to show you first of all is one that I haven't seen any other Flosstubers share this one. This is called a Celtic Welcome by Joan Elliott, and the mock-up is just a computer mock-up, so it doesn't do it a lot of justice. When I first started getting back into stitching, I saw this on Instagram stitched, and it was just superb. And my mum's Irish, she was born in Ireland, so I feel like I've got a connection to Ireland that I want to embrace. I want to go back there. Hopefully 2025 is my year. So this is where this was before, and I have put 600 stitches into this one, and this is where I'm up to now. And this one, if you don't like counting, cross this one off your list, because as you can see with all the Celtic knots and patterns there, it is count heavy, it's stitch heavy because it's nearly full coverage, and I buggered up with a cutler. As I said, I picked this out to start stitching on when I got back into stitching, and I was one number off, what was it, 3829 it calls for, and I didn't have it in my stash. I went 3830 will do. No, now as a more experienced stitcher. So the 3830 is that brown colour, which is not the desired look. And the 3829 is this gold colour that I'm in the process of pulling out. So it's a darker colour than the other gold. So it is so hard to frog full coverage. Oh my God. You have to like literally snip out each stitch. So this is a long-term frog goal. So every time I do a thread, I take out maybe half a dozen of the brown and replace them with the gold. That's why I've got the loose thread, to get rid of those dark browns. But it's not until I got to sort of this full corner done that I went, oh, why is that so dark and looking ugly? That's because inexperienced Mel just went, oh, the next number up is going to be fine. Doesn't quite work like that all the time. You can do that some of the time because it's in the same colour family, unless it's jumping colour families, which in my case it did. So don't be like Mel and just assume it will be fine, because you might find yourself utterly disappointed like I did and realise I had lots of frogging to do. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is Farmhouse Christmas. This one has had a lot of work. So this is where I was up to before. I'll pop it in. So we are getting a long way. So on this one, sorry, I hadn't taken it off the Q-snap. So here it comes. And this is where I'm up to now with Farmhouse Christmas. This is great for challenge stitches because, yeah, it can fit a lot of different things into those challenges. So I finally got the patchwork one finished, got the Daisy Cow or Daisy Darling, and now I've starting to run out of the fancy floss. Now there's not a lot of variegation in these colour works. Is it colour works? Is that the word? Classic colour works. This is my thread that's left. Like, as you can see, I've literally got, oh no, hang on. Literally got just strands left. And there's not a lot of variegation at all. Not like, really, you should see something in the browns, in the house, in the green, the red. Nothing. So I'm half tempted to just use DMC, but I've got to make sure it's a good match and not just assume. But that is where we're up to. So we've got 3 whole blocks to go. And then I'm going to turn this into a cushion cover and have it out at winter. It's not going to be a Christmas, like there's nothing that, besides the snow and the trees, it's really a Northern Hemisphere Christmas piece, but I think it still says winter without saying Christmas too much. So that is my Farmhouse Christmas and my piddly amount of threads left. Oh, I probably should have, well, I knew I wasn't going to make it right through with one skein of each of the fancy floss, but we tried. The next one I am going to show you is A Joyous Day by Blackbird Design. I took this to the most recent retreat I went to, which was the Daisy Chain Stitchery Retreat in Colburn. Got heaps done and got so motivated. So this is where I was up to before. And this is where we're up to now. We have got nearly the big bird in, but I've made a boo-boo on his head. Trying to fudge it because, I don't know, I can't find the mistake. So he's going to have a little bit of a smaller head than what the chart has. So this is stitched on country, no, this is stitched on, why are words and memory so hard as soon as you press the record button? Vintage Country Mocha is what this one is. So this is a printed linen, and I love Vintage Country Mocha. So this is going to be something that I will repurchase for my stash. But loving how this is going to come out. So I've still got heaps of room for the rest of the pattern, but I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And it's one that I can't seem to put down. So, and again, very useful for prompt stitching. Now, the other whip I'm going to show you is not a cross stitch, but it's a whip. And I know lots of blah. Reset. I know lots of you like your quilting. I have started doing some EPP. I've got into a really bad habit of calling it EEP. And EEP comes out before EPP comes out. So this is currently where I'm up to with my EPP. It's a table runner. This is my first attempt at this craft, so we're only doing something small. And yeah, so it's going to be a spring decor table runner. Don't know what I'm going to do with what the next step is after I finish putting all my hexies together, but I really enjoy this. It's really calming. There's no pattern, there's no counting, and it's something I can do and take anywhere, because you don't have to, well, it's getting big now actually. It's not something I'd probably get out on an aeroplane. But it's easy to take away when you go somewhere, like go away for the weekend or something, because you're not having to count, and you can get distracted. You can talk easy with when you're doing the EPP. Now I've got 2 new starts. Yes, they are 2 new starts. I was just trying to think whether or not I showed them to you after I got back from the retreat. I think I showed you the patterns, but I hadn't quite started. So the first one I have is in this beautiful quilted bag, which was part of my exchange gift from the Smalls, which I just love this little bag. And rightly so, I have put in the daisy chain Ort tray chart by Mojo Stitches. And I'm really enjoying this. Now, that's the backing fabric. This is where I've got up to with the daisy. And this is using, oh my goodness. It is using the threads from Cottage Garden Threads. So they are variegated. Like this yellow, I think, has become my new favorite yellow. It just stitches up so beautifully, and this green. So this is where I'm up to. This is on Whoopsie Daisy fabric, which is Teresa's own fabric line from Daisy Chain. Now I'm just going to bob down for a moment. So out of sight, 1 minute, because I dropped the chart. I don't think I'm going to do the top bit. I think I'm going to see where the white petals are and the orange bit. I think I'm just going to do that. So leave it as sort of like a daisy from side on, and still complete the Ort tray, and do continue, we'll refresh my skill on my lazy daisies that Joanne from Mojo taught us on the day of the retreat, or the weekend. So that's 1 new start. The second new start I have is becoming a favourite. It's called Kaleidoscope. Now I hope you're watching, Deb from Country Stitches. So this is the chart. Now it does come in, they do give you examples of lots of different colourways, which is beautiful. But I saw Deb on Country Stitches doing hers in a Verosoir. So there's all these different ones, but Deb just chose her own colours, and Deb knows. She's a pro. Now, when I went to Cruel Gobelin, I was hoping that, because I found it really hard to find a Verosoir in Australia, so I ended up getting Valdanis. And they are beautiful. So Deb, the colours are very the same to yours, and I've made the teeniest little start. Now, so this is on just a cream linen, And the light blue is the DMC and the dark blue is the Verissoir. I'll pop a photo in here of Deb's because it just looks amazing. I can't wait to get that far on it. But I really, even just that corner, that one little corner, it's like, oh, it's like nothing else I've stitched before. And if you don't like back stitching, turn around, go away. You're not going to like this one. It's every little bit will be back stitched in that light blue. But once you've got one section done, it's just a matter of sitting there and doing all the back stitching. So absolutely love that. And it will be coming out very shortly for another stitch, another go round. So that is my whips for this video. We do have some other things to share. I have other things to share with you. So I'm going to reset once again. And I'll be back. Okay, future plans. Now, if you're interested, I did a video, my previous video, as I mentioned before, was a kit parade. And I did say in that particular video, if there's anything you'd like to see me stitch next year, just comment below. So the list quickly started growing. There were 3 or 4 that I said, yep, these are going to be done in 2024. And then the list, people said, I want to see this, I want to see that. So I kept adding to the list. So we're going to make a start on one of my new starts before 2024 with a peacock Sal. Now, my friend Linda from Linda and Leroy on Instagram, she doesn't have her own channel, maybe one day. She said, I've got a peacock chart. I want to do it. Let's do it together. So if there are any charts in my previous video that you want to do a stitch along with me, let me know, because that'll get me motivated to stitch some of those, the ones that I showed you, because I've got a lot of whips, but I do love a new start. Who doesn't? So Linda we're not stitching the same particular pattern. We're just stitching a theme of peacocks, and I'm going to stitch Oh Feathers by Rosewood Manor. Isn't she? Isn't he beautiful? And these are the threads that I have selected for that. So I've got 2 Victoria samplers, and I've got 2 silks for you, and then 2 DMCs. But my goodness, how gorgeous are those 2 blues? They are going to look amazing. Now, she's a big girl. I should say, he's a big boy. What's his stitch count? Is it something I can see quickly? 207 by 168. So Quakerish patterns, still love it. So if you want to join in, Linda and I are gonna start our Pretty Peacock Sal on the 1st of November. Nice and summery stitch for us stitches in the Southern Hemisphere. But if you have a peacock chart, because what's a peacock, unicorn and a badger seems to be very, very popular. So if you're stitching that and you'd like to join in our Sal, 1st of November, Pretty Peacock Sal. So you probably won't see, what's today? Today's the 4th of October. I may have this started by the next time I see you. I'm going to just stitch it on a really white 25 count linen. Now the next one I know I'm going to start, because it's a Christmas ornament, is going to be for my son who's just moved into his first house. So he needs a ornament to commemorate that. And I'm going to stitch, which one's this? This is 2020. And this is by Autumn Lane Stitchery, is the Santa. And I'm going to do him on perforated paper, because I've got a nice big sheet of red perforated paper. So you will see a start on this guy before next time. And he is 68 by 39 and back stitching. So I think the back stitching makes him. So that is going to be my, of course, I'm not going to do the thingy-jigs around him. It's just going to be Santa and cut out, sort of like a mill hill, but without beads. So what else have I got to show you? I have some lovely Stitchy happiness mail, and I've also got some future fun. Now, future fun is essentially stash, but I saw a Flosstuber only a couple of days ago refer to it as future fun, and I like that. So I am going to adopt that category as well, because stash is, I don't know, I like future fun. So I had a lovely message from Deb Wilson, who's Deb Wilson on Flosstube, which I will link her below. Amazing stitcher. She's so fast with her stitching. And Deb said, hey Mel, I saw that you wanted this particular chart and missed out on Stash Unload because Deb beat me to it. She said, would you like me to forward it on to you now she'd finished? Yes, please. So Deb has sent me Buzz, and that's going to be very soon on the priority list as well, and also a little bee charm she included. So thank you, Deb, it's really appreciated. So that is going in my to be started pile. It keeps growing. Then I was lucky enough to be drawn for a, don't you love it when you have an avalanche of stitching supplies tumble? Oh well. I was lucky enough to be the winner of Carolyn from Carolyn Zook as a winner for her Erica Michaels chart. Fall for autumn, which I really like that. That's really lovely. So Carolyn sent that to me, but she also sent me a magazine, which was really kind. Thank you, Carolyn. And it's a pony, and do you know what? It's like a horse that my friend has. Probably should have pre-sorted the page for you before. So I thought I would do this as a gift piece. That's the piece. So her horse looks very, very similar to that. And I thought, oh, that won't take long. Famous last stitches words, isn't it? 171 by 108. So not massive, but really it's not a small. But so I'm going to stitch up this guy, and this one actually had some Stitch Rovia patterns in it as well. So very appreciative of that. Thank you, Carolyn. So that one is more stitches to do. Then I found some future fun on the Australian Stash Unloading site. Now, some people say stitch all the Blackbirds, but I love my Brenda Gervais. And I'm like, whenever I see them, I snap them up, because she doesn't really stock a lot of different LNSs with them. So, and she definitely hard to get hold of. So I found Forever and Ever, which was right before my anniversary. And I sort of was like, oh, I should get that as a anniversary piece. But it just says in my heart, forever and ever. So I'll probably put our wedding date in there. But that is going into my one day to be stitched, not next year, one day to be stitched pile. And the other one that I was lucky enough to get on Stash Unloading is a Stacey Nash. And I hadn't seen this one before. And it's called Birds of a Feather Needlebook. And it is so sweet. Look how much detail is in those birds. And then there's that side too. I just thought that was the sweetest little chart, so I had to have that guy in my one day to be stitched. Now I was watching Neat and Not by the Sea, which is they're a New Zealand duo, Flosstubers, and they had received some Stitchy Kindness from a lady in Spain, I think, and she had sent them, along with charts and other bits and bobs, some floss drops. But the floss drops were made from food packaging, or cardboard packaging for food. And I thought, that is really neat, because I go through floss drops. Like I use greeting cards, I've made some, I use all sorts of bits and pieces, but I thought, because I've got a punch, So I'll just show you one that I've made. This is from a box of shortbread. So it's got premium Tasmanian shortbread on it. And I've just punched it out. I haven't put the bigger hole at the bottom. And from one package, I got three floss drops. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool to have all different packages from all over the world? Like, for example, I just did practice some on a box of pasta as well. Like that one just says, and that's got on it there, see, a sign of love. I just thought that was sweet. But I thought that would be so neat if you swapped these type of floss drops with people from around the world, and you had a collection of different floss drops in all different languages of people's favorite foods. And it really, I just thought, and it's also recycling, and I'm very much for upcycling all sorts of things. So I thought that was a really neat idea to the lady who gifted a package to to Neat and Not Across the Sea with something just a little bit unique. So every time I'm cooking now or preparing dinner, I'm like, ooh. And I've decided I only like the ones with the white cardboard background, not the grey cardboard colour. So every time I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, oh, could that be used as a floss drop? Yes. So my husband's like, what are you doing with all this recycling? They had to recycle it. Now, I've got a giveaway for you, and it is, you guessed it, Hands On Designs Autumn Skies. Now, it doesn't come with the felted piece, but if you would like that, what I want you to put in a comment below for me is blue, because there's a blue pumpkin. Because it's not autumn here in the Southern Hemisphere, so I don't want autumn reminders. It is springtime. So just pop the word blue into a sentence somehow, and next time I will draw that. You can be anywhere in the world. I'll post this internationally. You know all the rules. Don't say the word. And you need to be over 18. Now, because I have had an influx of subscribers, I am so close now to 2,000. Today I was at 1,908. So as soon as I get to 2,000 subscribers, I'm going to do an electronic gift card giveaway. So that could be, I'd prefer it was either Etsy or 123 Stitch, because I can do those online, and then you can do that in your currency. Like, it gets converted to whatever currency where you are, especially if it's Etsy. Etsy is really good for that. And then you can choose what you would like. So I'm going to do a $25 voucher. Hey, let's just make it, no, we'll do it 123 Stitch or Etsy, but that's when I hit 2,000 subscribers. So if you want to be alerted to that giveaway, you need to ring the bell so you can check on my next video, because if you miss it, you'll be annoyed. So I'm really, really, I don't know, words can't express it, grateful for all the support that I've received since I've sort of come back a little bit more regularly to Flosstube. So thank you. It's very much appreciated, and it is a little bit exciting seeing the numbers grow again, especially as quick as they have over the last week. It's sort of blown me away a little bit. I'm like, what is going on? So thank you. And once again, if you're new, thank you. And I hope what you've seen today is something that you like. So until next time, everyone, I will see you later. Bye.